Hello from Southern Ontario, June 20th. It's 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Not sure what that is in Celsius. I'm old school. It's hot. I was smart to take the week off, and it lets me make some fun videos. This will be a lengthier one, not one of my snippets, as the Celtic Canuck refers to them. So from the comments, I made a video about democracy being imperfect, but given the options. And someone in the comments said, I guess you like the idea of democracy because you're into mob rule, question mark. Look this up for a little education. The difference between a democracy and a republic. Well, sorry, I don't have time for hide and seek. I'm not really interested in that. But yeah, let's take a look at democracy and a republic. Maybe you didn't like the fact I didn't mention a republic when I was talking about democracy, communism, socialism, fascism. Anyways, in Canada we have a parliamentary democracy. In the States it's a democratic republic. I mean, tell me, if you're an American, do you consider that you live in a democracy? Although you have a system of governance that is referred to as a republic. I mean, this makes sense. After the Boston Tea Party, your founding fathers weren't going to, I think, base their newly formed government upon the Queen's Westminster parliamentary system like we did here in Canada. Anyways, I went to the large language model, AI, and Googled, in essence, democracy. Direct participation by citizens in decision making. Citizens vote directly on laws and policies, often uses referendums, can be prone to mob rule and tyranny of the majority. The tyranny of the majority. Can you imagine? We're going to come back to how in Canada we don't vote directly on laws and policies, and direct participation by citizens in decision making? No. But we'll come back to that. And back to the large language model republic. Representative government where citizens elect representatives to make decisions on their behalf. Kind of sounds like how we vote in members of parliament here in Canada. Again, in the republic, a republic, representatives are accountable to the people and must act in their best interests. In theory, and yeah, that sounds kind of like in theory what's supposed to happen here in Canada. Protects individuals' rights and minority interests through a system of checks and balances. Theoretically, anyways, and again, both sides of the border on that one. And yet somehow the republic is less prone to mob rule and tyranny of the majority. Well, make of that what you will. In a democracy, the majority has more direct power, whereas in a republic, the emphasis is on representation and protection of individual rights. Well, again, I'd say that's a matter of interpretation, the difference between our two systems north and south of the border here. The U.S. is, for example, a constitutional federal republic, not a direct democracy. Well, semantics of words there, I'd say. Your American president has the right to veto. We don't have anything like that here in Canada. So anyways, back to this, where was it here? Citizens vote directly on laws and policies, direct participation by citizens in decision making. That in a democracy, again from AI. So, when and how often has Canada had referendums or plebiscites nationally? Can you name one? Well, we've had 3. In 1898 we had a plebiscite on prohibition. In 1942 we had a plebiscite on conscription. And in 1992 we had a referendum on the Charlottetown Accord, which was a proposed amendment to the Canadian Constitution. That was defeated in a public referendum. We needn't get into the subject matter. So now we come to how individual democracies and republics operate in intent and actuality. Upper and lower houses in the states, you have the Senate, the Congress, the president's willingness to or not to veto. Now, Argentina's a republic, and can we really expect that it operates and functions identically to that of the US or other republics like Uzbekistan, Czechoslovakia, or the Ukraine? No, no more so than Canadians' parliamentary democracy would function the same as other parliamentary democracies: Albania, Bangladesh, Israel, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. I'm pretty sure they don't quite function identically to what Canada does. I mean, only in the broadest of senses, really, can we say our parliamentary democracy compared to, well, I don't know, is the Netherlands a parliamentary democracy? I'm not sure. The tyranny of the majority, I can't get my head around that. And is the U.S. still not considered a democracy, technically? Now, I'm firmly of the mind we should let the tyranny of the mob rule through referendum on larger issues here in Canada. A current example would be the polling shows 70% of Canadians want an election. Case in point, it'd be a nice time to have a referendum on an election, because we can't get rid of Trudeau because the signing of the Supply and Confidence Agreement negates our parliamentary democracy. However, in an ideal world, any democracy, be it a republic, a whatever, yeah, still can't get around the tyranny of the majority thing. But anyways, let's stick to Canada and back to if we had a referendum to call for an election, just as an example. Now, what can the public base their decisions on without an honest press? And this would hold true in any democracy in the world. Without an honest press, what is the population supposed to base their opinion on? I mean, if we had an honest press, we'd have left, center, and right press, media. But the legacy media, or mainstream media in North America, certainly in probably the rest of the Western world, the developed world, is owned or funded or influenced by big bucks. The megacorps, corporations, or in Canada's case, the CBC is government funded, and many other news sources here in Canada, government funded. What about social media? Is it unbiased? Of course it isn't. Look at Mark Zuckerberg and what he testified to in whatever you call them in the States, committees, hearings, whatever. He testified under oath that, yeah, there was censorship on social media regarding the, and all that related, right? Anyways, I just wanted to ramble about it for my own amusement. Thanks for, what do we got there? Oh, well, I better go attend that. Anyways, I think I made my point. I still think the U.S. is a democracy. They just happen to have a different governmental operation. It's the same thing by a different name, basically, as far as I'm concerned.